Ready?
Okay, well, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes at the last meeting.
Move to approve the version.
Been moved by Amanda, second by David. All in favor? Approved. Okay. Well, we'll jump right on down to new business. Ben Shell bids, we got one. Now to see how bad we'll be shocked. Okay, it's from Jensen Construction, Roger and Travis. They will pressure wash the exterior of the building, repair cracks, and spray 2 coats of paint on the sides and the dome. They're going to use Benjamin Moore paint. I think they're just going to get it down here at the lumber yards because I told them to get it locally. Trim doors and windows, trim front, side, and the blocks. Paint equipment, rent and labor, scaffolding, the whole works. $15,000.
And that's to do the whole thing?
The whole thing.
Outside only, right?
Outside only, yeah.
That's not nearly as bad as I was figuring. I figured you already had.
I knew it'd be 10 and above. Because it's going to take a lot of scaffolding and stuff and things, and it needs to be done. We've got we had that $2,500 given to us, so we can use that, and we're going to apply for that grant.
$5,000 from Community Foundation, right?
So that would be half
Yeah.
of it, yeah.
So that's about half of it, and I did ask them the day we looked it over and stuff, if they could get it done this fall, and they said they would. And so it'd be better if we did get it done this fall, so a lot of moisture sits on it this winter, if we ever get any moisture, it does damage, so.
We meet
Well, I know if
on
those
the
two
4th.
do it, it'll be done right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Soon, but yeah.
Well, I've got it started. This grant application started. It was just waiting for that, so I can submit it tomorrow if we decide to go that direction.
So that would give us, the city would be matching.
Yeah, and it would be capital improvement funds that could be used.
Well, we still have funds in that. Gardner,
You do.
but it'd be nice to hang on to them for a while, in case we...
In my opinion, it would, yes.
I would hang on to that.
For a big,
And
bigger
going back
project.
to this, I have emailed Greg on the 15th of the month. He didn't respond. I don't, he's in a big lawsuit going on right now, and I guess tied in with something. So I don't know what's going to happen there. So
Do we need to vote on this?
what's that?
Is this something we need to vote on tonight?
Yeah, we need to go ahead and okay this if we're going to go ahead with this bid. You know, we had it out there for quite a while. Nobody bid on it, and it's at least it's staying local.
Kel moves, I'll second.
Okay. Gail moved and David seconded. All in favor? Yep.
That voice sounded eerily the same. Okay.
Okay.
And then I think you guys already approved me to apply for that grant the last time, if we didn't you? I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we decided let's apply for it and see if we can get some help.
I'm sure that's been done. I'm sure we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion necessarily for that. I know we talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, but we would need a motion in order for me to apply for the grant, but use the matching funds out of capital improvement, which would be $7,500. $2,500 from the Bear donation, $7,500 from capital improvement. So I'll probably...
Assuming we were to get the 5,000, right?
What's
Yeah,
that?
but-
Assuming we get
Yes.
the 5,000.
Yeah.
Well,
Otherwise, we're going to be
Otherwise,
spending
nothing.
more out of capital improvement.
right, right.
David makes a motion on that one.
You have to say that you second it.
But if
Larry
I'm,
seconds it.
I would make a motion that we spend either the 7,500 or the 12,500 if we don't get the,
Yeah, we got either way to get it done.
yeah.
Either way, we gotta get it done.
Okay.
Either way, get it done
I'll
and
second
then,
that.
okay.
But you need a motion to go ahead and apply for the
Sounded better than
grant.
what you said.
well,
We
that's
already
really
have
what
it.
that's really what I need, is the
Yeah, just a
authorization to
motion
use
to
the
apply for
funds.
the grant for
We already
$5,000.
had that from the last meeting. We already authorized her to apply. I know it was in the.
I thought we did too.
Yeah,
Technically,
Yeah.
but I just need the authorization to spend the money out of the capital improvement fund,
Okay.
like you're moving to do.
I moved, Gail seconded, so.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Yeah. approved. Okay. Well, we'll move on to the Eagle Broadband pole rental.
Can we table this? The pole rental does not provide a paragraph on what happens if they damage our poles while they're affixing, moving, replacing, relocating, modifying, maintaining, repairing, and removing their attachments. It doesn't provide that they're liable for damage. It provides that we maintain the poles. And so I am concerned that if they do damage in the course of their use of the poles, they should be responsible for that. So I am in the process of typing up an addendum to the pole attachment agreement. It's only going to be about 3 paragraphs. I will email it, and then we'll come back to it in the attorney report, if that's okay.
What about the franchise that we discovered? Do we need to address all of this at one time, or what's?
No, so the franchise, I asked her about that, the lady that contacted me regarding this, and she said the franchise agreement they have is now with the state, and she's going to send me a copy with it, but it's with the state, but it disperses the funds to the entities like ourselves, because we continue to get those fees.
I knew we did, but I knew the franchise agreement we had was expired.
Yes, and so, and I was never able to find out who to contact on that, so she's apparently the right person.
Okay.
But she's going to send me a copy of that, but it's no longer with us. It's with the state, and we just get the funds. So we're good with that. Hopefully I'll get a copy of it.
I saw this, and I'm like, this is a good time to
Yeah.
clean it all up. But yeah, we're good to go.
Yep, we are.
And talking about that, what about the Verizon on the water tower? We current on that one too?
Probably, but I haven't looked at that.
We ought to look at that, because I know that one time we kind of got behind the ball on that too.
Verizon and
Boy, they put a lot of
AT&T.
stuff on that. And I wish they would take their birds with them. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check the terms on those.
Well, it's just something to look at, make sure we keep current with it too. Okay, we'll table the Eagle Broadband till the next meeting. Okay, Karen, was she going to come, or she just wanting us to?
She just
okay.
wanted us to, and really what it is I put this out on the share for everybody to look at, and Scott, I made you a copy of this that I got from the Kansas Department of Revenue. Basically, it's kind of a formality for us, because what she's wanting to do is very similar to farmer's market. The difference is obviously that's on farmer's market's on public property, this is on private. But it is still a special event as far as the Kansas Department of Revenue is concerned. And our responsibility as a city is to notify the Department of Revenue of all special events that are happening within our jurisdiction. So for me, I feel like even if you're going to waive fees or however you're going to handle it, we still need to have this on file so I have something to send to the Department of Revenue with all of the contact information for any special event that happens. So that's what this is basically I had her fill it out, but it's in a private location, but still a special event. So.
And that's when they'll get the packets from the state we're going to hand out to you.
And she already does.
Sales tax.
Yeah, Karen's on top of it. She knows what to do, but kind of for moving forward for any kind of a thing like this. But she is asking that, the fees be waived like we did for the farmer's market.
I'll move the waive the fees.
Okay, it's been moved by Larry. Second by Darrell. All in favor? Approve to waive the fees. Old business property cleanups. I know that Taylor's not here tonight and stuff. Do you have anything on that, Lauren?
he sent me a couple additional emails. We're getting letters ready to go out. But he sent me the pictures and we're getting them ready to go out. I'm anticipating that we will have them sent out at the end of the month, give them till the middle of the month to try, middle of October to make progress on it. If nothing's done, we'll set it for the November municipal court day, not motion day, sorry. There is one at, the one at 108, the one at 118 West Emerson, it is making progress, so we're just kind of following up on that. There is a Colwell property that we had tabled because he had thought they were moving. It appears that they are not moving, and then there's another one on Dennison Street that he sent me photos of, so we have those. And then, of course, it's ongoing with the McCoy property.
Did he give you the one on, what street is that? It's down by Martin Mills. What street is that? Whittier.
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 I have...
Because that backyard, the weeds are this tall. There's all kinds of junk in there, trampoline, mowers, the mower.
I have, yes, he did.
Okay.
On my list is also 110 East Whittier.
Yeah.
And I guess there is dog waste can be identified by both site and odor. It's
Yeah. And that's in the front yard, tied to the tree. The dog. You can see the dog just goes in a circle around the tree all the time.
And that's what I brought up with Cody, and I have to wait for him to come because he was all to enforcing or updating our ordinance that you can't tie a dog up. You can't tether him for an extended period of time where they have to get some sort of a kennel or fenced in or put it not tie it up. And Cody was okay with it and ready to enforce it. He just hasn't been around, and I was waiting for him, but I don't know why. And it was back this summer when I had somebody from the state of Kansas out here. She said, the city of Topeka, you can't tether. I looked at the ordinance, and sure enough, you cannot tether a dog for an extended period of time. Just so you don't have that. And Cody and I talked, and I think there might be very few in town that would actually, but at least it would stop it.
So the person living there doesn't own the property.
No, the person living there doesn't own the property. Or again, it's one of those,
Right next to it. But his parents do, correct?
Or
Yeah, I think so.
and to somebody, they're related, yes.
yeah. Well, on that
I
matter,
believe we notified the owner. Is that the contact I have from JR is Kim McGinnis.
Yes, that's the owner.
Because that's what we did with the Zweiger property, because I don't know if Larry Zweiger wasn't it Brian Zweiger? Yeah. Yep. Right.
Did we ever have a code enforcement officer or someone who dealt specifically with this type of issue?
JR.
Yeah.
JR, and or it goes to, or if they're,
Or to the,
sheriff's department, so it's actually to issue a ticket.
yeah. That's the way most of the small towns work. They can't afford to have everything, so. On top of that, the property that I've had complaints on is 512 East 4th. So I'll let JR know when he gets back. It's got vehicles parked everywhere. It's up there. One's got the whole front end knocked out from under it, and the other ones do not run either. Two of them are clear full of beer cans and pop cans and whatever, and half of that's strung out on the property too, so it looks like crap.
What's the address again?
512 East 4th. But then someone said, well, you guys never drive up in that area. There were complaints on 3rd, East 3rd, 4th, and and, you know, it's kind of that area up there where there's not that many houses and homes out there, but it is, it's something to look at.
Well, that we still have a workshop on Quincy Street down there. Rolling tables and on the street, stuff on it for 2-3 weeks.
It's just amazing what people will do. So I'll let JR know that when he gets back to, I took some pictures of it if you want to see it. But, it's just one of those. And we got, you know, it's just not there. There's several of them.
You should have a mass property cleanup thing. I'll generate a bunch of letters. That's all the photos that we have. Just do a mass mailing. Shut everything for December motion day. The goal is that they'll clean it up in that 15 days and they won't get to December motion day.
And we know how that goes.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Before I actually.
there's only basically 2 houses on that street. And so nobody complains too much, and that's what they said, well, you never come by here that much. Well, I have been by there, and I had that kind of on my list that didn't look very good. But, well, these people want to try to be somewhat of a mechanic out of there, right out on their drive out into the street. Okay, well, let's move on to project pending. Anybody have anything on that? Like I said, I tried to get a hold of Greg, send him an email on the 15th, but I haven't heard from him, so I'll try to do it again.
I have not heard back from Michael Batchelor with Peter Long.
That was what I was going to ask.
No, I sent him that initial, I haven't followed up. But I assumed he would respond from.
The last I heard was he wanted us to get a survey. And then you had the map that I didn't have, and so you had sent that to him. And you had something else for him that I think you sent to him, and
I've got the blueprints over there at work, and I just sent him like one page. I mean, there's 5 or 6 pages of the little, like, the old blueprints that are 3 foot by 2 foot.
Yeah,
I just tried to take a picture and send him one going, half this, that shows that it was their intent to build it, so.
Oh, we know. Yeah, you were there when I tried to get a flat cannon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't heard from him. If you want to,
I'll follow up with that.
yeah, but then if he doesn't respond to you, let me know and I'll reach out also.
As far as the Empire property, strategic planning committee still has definite interest in it. I think there's a group of 4 or 5 people that are looking into it, trying to revamp it again, and start doing some digging on it from the county-wide standpoint. That's all I really heard at this planning meeting. I think it dropped off of the radar for a little while, and it sounds like there's 4 or 5 people that are going to start looking into things again, try to come up with some other ideas.
Do you know who those people are?
I don't. I didn't think to ask that.
Is it Justin and his dad?
No.
I don't know if he's on there or not. I don't
Oh.
know. Tom Small was in head that or something, or he's on it.
Well, Tom's talked to me a couple times about it, but it seemed like, oh gosh, that was what, like a year ago. Last week was talking about it, seeing if we could get Brock or somebody to draw up some plans and maybe just downsize it, build something that's, 12 rooms to 20 rooms, 12 rooms, and make it so you could add on 8 more if things went good or whatever. Just build something that would just be new and nice and accessible.
Who would run it?
I don't know. I mean, that's part of the problem and stuff. Finding a good manager that will manage it and run it. What's that? No, I don't think so.
You're still looking at investment.
At that time.
Sure.
Because we was thinking that, my gosh, a cobblestone, and that was 4 years ago, it was $3 million. It's probably 3.5 now. And the community had to put in half. And they get the first 10 years of the cream of it, and then they turn it over. And we all agreed that is probably not the way to go, because there's no return to the people's investment. So, but if you could put something up for $1 million, and those investors start getting some return right away, because in 10 years you're going to have to replace carpet, mattresses, painting and whatever. And so, I don't know. It's still going to be harder to find investors even at that price probably, but it'll be a lot easier. A lot easier. So.
Yeah, that's true. Too, they have a committee now that's looking into housing and such. They're going to maybe build some, or
And looking at a couple properties over there, I think. Just to entice people coming to town. One of the things I picked up in that meeting, I hadn't even thought about this, is that one of the biggest challenges right now to bringing in new people is how there's a daycare. They were talking about how they had a couple of younger families that were set to move. Found out they weren't going to be able to get daycare to keep on to health care and pull the plug. But there just isn't enough available right now. That's one of the biggest lack of things that we need out here, I guess. I have no idea.
some of them may have one spot, but then they can't take their baby or something like that,
The
You know,
daycare
that's
is
something-
expensive.
One family in York City that's going 3 different daycares just to get the kids in so that they can work.
Same things in the city.
Yeah.
Got to take them to 2 different places. And it's expensive. Yeah. But again, we got to be careful that we don't take the business away from the ones that are here.
right.
You know, it's too bad they can't figure out a way to expand the ones we have here and out that way, but I don't know. It is a challenge. Okay, I guess that's it on project spending for now. Street projects, well, I think they pulled off. Nothing's happening this week. They did get some streets done. So it's coming around. And if people say we don't do anything, we're spending a lot of money right now. We got the street project going on, we got the guys on the electrical going on, we got the pool painting going on, we had the boiler replaced. There's been a lot of money spent this summer.
If we get the band set
Yeah.
On the street project, help me to know how to, because I'm afraid I'm going to get approached by this, because it was a Ford Ford church member who no longer is a church member, they have a relative who lives on Jackson, in between the 2 streets on both sides of the main show that goes north and south. They were both being worked on at the same time, and they made a very public spectacle on Facebook talking about this. And I was afraid I was going to defer because they know me, they know almost the council. And they said, well, this is, how is this even legal?
I did see the
I'm not, man,
FedEx
so we
truck.
just be grateful we're getting these things.
I did see the FedEx truck on that block after that comment was made. So FedEx made it
Yeah.
And I've talked to several firemen, EMS, and they said, if there's any emergency, we will find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
So,
no way.
I mean,
JR said the same thing, too, because I asked him about that.
because, yeah.
'Cause I've seen the same
Because
thing.
it was brought to my attention, and that same day it was brought to my attention, and went out the window, and I'm like, well, the FedEx guys figured out how to do it, so, like, I'm sure an ambulance or fire truck's gonna make it there, so.
It's no different than being in the big city. Get on I-70 going through downtown Denver right now. They're stacked up for a long time, and if there's an ambulance caught in it, you can't get around, you can't move, you can't go anywhere because there's no way for him to go. Unless those cars move over enough that he squeezes through, and that's what they're doing. But same thing happens all construction like that.
And literally from the day that close to the day where it was easily accessible, 5 minutes. So, I mean, maybe not really a knock. I mean, come on. Really. So,
You're gonna have complaints from that over. I'm sure they're gonna be too soon.
Yeah. But we're gaining.
They weren't here at all?
What's that?
Working on streets at all today?
No, they pulled off. They have to leave for 3 weeks to do that state job.
There's a couple of them.
There's some of it's here, some of it isn't.
Okay, I was gonna say, because they cut out some squares and,
Yeah, I think the demolition guys cutting out are here, but the ones putting down the level, they had to go do some paving for somewhere in the state.
we cut out some squares down our street, where it was already done. I wasn't sure why.
In the cement.
Cones up, yeah, there's at least 3 cutouts.
Like they didn't even show up. It must have been something that they didn't like.
Either that or that should have been anything to do with like any water lines or anything. There's two south of us and 1 north of us. I was curious, I just hadn't seen it. I think they made pretty good progress considering.
I did get
Oh, yeah. And you know, when it all started, you thought, all this money, that's not doing very many streets. But then when all this equipment shows up in town, and all the manpower and everything that's got to go along with that, they're doing a lot of work for that money. So. Okay, building permits, we don't have anything there, do we? Superintendent report, nothing, unless JR contacted somebody else. He never contacted me. I did talk to him the other day, not till this weekend. This weekend, this next weekend. Attorney report.
I had sent a contract last time JR was going to review it. I have not had a chance to connect with him. I was gone, then now he's gone. So we will do that. I've been working on, as we discussed, a lot of Chapter 15, Article 5 on trash provisions will need to be amended. The ordinances to ensure that we are provided for hill pickup. We discussed some amendments. I've been working on those. One of the things is going to be the rate. There have been discussions about an audit and what that was going to be. I have not had a chance to connect with JR on that. I'm going to be proposing that we put in there that the rate will be set by the council by ordinance. And so that way each year as it goes up, we can amend our rates if necessary. I'm hoping to get them out with about a week before the first meeting of next month for the council, so you can have a chance to review it. I'm going to be sending 2 documents. What I've done is I've copied and pasted it into a Word document, and I've clicked track changes on it. And so one of the documents that I'll be sending is my red line changes, so you can see what changes I made to the original. And then the final one will just be what the new ordinance sections will be, or what the new ordinance with that new article will be, because there's a fair few that need to be amended. That was discussed with Hill. I took notes. I've got about a page of notes of what needs to be addressed. So I have that. I am working on the addendum to the pole attachment license agreement. It's pretty straightforward. I'm on the last paragraph of it now, as stated earlier. The license agreement doesn't include what happens if they damage the poles. Obviously, normal wear and tear is accepted, but it doesn't provide that if they damage or destroy the poles that they have to pay for it, and I think you probably should. So I'm finishing that up right now. I should have it done by the time Lila's done with her report, and I will hit email all, and then you can review it really quickly. It's only about half a page. It's a full page with the signature blocks, but they take up about that much of the page, so it's a fairly quick read.
So on the Hill Trash service, you're going to put in the ordinance what we are paying Hill Trash?
No.
Or what we are charging?
So they're in the ordinance, actually in the ordinance book, it says what the trash rates are. And that obviously has to change because we're going to be raising the rate since that's what we're paying Hill. And so instead of it specifying what that is, I'm drafting a provision that says the rate will be as specified by council, reviewed on an annual basis, yada, yada, yada. So that way each year as it goes up, we can revisit that and raise the rate if necessary, and then we will just have that, the ordinance 630, whatever as we go forward. The rate for this year will be however much it's going to be, and then the next year we just use that exact same ordinance, change the year, change the amount, pass that, publish it, so it goes into effect. So that way, because it is specified in the ordinance book, and it has not been raised since I think it was codified in at least 2015, maybe before that.
2012, I think.
So, I mean, it hasn't.
We recodified when I first got on.
Right, but the rate didn't change.
But the rate didn't change at the recodification, so it's not been since at least, it's not been since at least 2012 that rate has been changed. And I know that was going to be part of the audit process that they were going to be going through for the accounts and the number of receptacles and things like that. But like I said, I haven't had a chance to coordinate with JR on it. So I wanted to do that before I sent it out. Otherwise, I will just highlight in yellow where that amendment is going to be. So once I coordinate with him after he gets back, because it's my goal to send it out next Monday or Tuesday.
Because he wanted to get that audit done, and then he wanted to have discussion with Gary on the rates.
And my concern, and I've talked to JR about this the night that Gary was here, Gary is very adamant of what we were charging per canister, yada, 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 and I feel like whatever our contract is with Hill Trash Service is our contract, and what we charge our customers is what the city. Obviously, we're buying the receptacle, so if we want to increase per receptacle to recoup, to be able to replace them, that should be us saying and not Gary being involved with that. So
I agree with that. I agree with that statement. What the rates are going to be is obviously going to be set by council, but we need somewhere to start, I guess, based on that audit. And so, I will have the document up, ready for any changes that are discussed in the council meeting. And so I can edit it if there is a, no, we're going to do this, no, it's going to be that instead. I can edit that as we're discussing it, and then have it printed out to be signed at the next meeting, or at the end of October. I know we're still several weeks out from the binge coming in. They had said 6 to 7 when we'd made the commitment. It's been 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're not imminent.
I just wanted that completely. What we agree with.
No, we are not putting that in. What we charge people is currently codified in the ordinances, and it has not been updated since at least 2012. Possibly before that, I don't know. But I think that what we need to do, rather than having that rate in there, is to state that the rate will be determined by council pursuant to supply demand. what they need to do in order to provide trash services to the city. And, you know, that can entail the bins, that can entail the service agreement with Hill Trash, if we need to replace bins, if something
The
else
landfill
is
gets full and we
right,
have
and we
to
have
start
to haul it
hauling
somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
No,
so, rather than putting what the rate is in the ordinance, that section has the most modification because the city is going to have a chance, and of course, it sounds nicer than what I'm saying off the top of my head right now, but it states that the city will be determining the trash rate and reviewing the same on an annual or more frequent basis. And so, that way people will go, you can only charge me $13 for my trash. No. So, yeah, that's where we are. That's where I am on that. And so, yeah, I just thought it might be helpful when I send those to send the final document, and also the red line, so you can see the changes that I am proposing.
Sounds good.
So.
And I've been surprised, but I haven't heard of too many complaints, you know, where they're setting trash
The very
cans.
first day, there was, yeah.
Well, there was some right away, but since then, I really haven't heard anything too much. Now that they've kind of got a place where they'd like, well, they'll scream when their rates go
Tomorrow.
up. And
My
stuff.
only thing is their truck is so violent with those receptacles.
We
I
gotta get
have
the
to
new
go out
ones
every
in.
week and make sure my receptacle's put back where it's supposed to be, because they leave it in a
Lit-
weird spot every time, and so
Well,
I'm not gonna get blamed for this, so I have to go every week, I have to go move it.
Yeah.
Lid's falling off, I mean, there's,
yeah.
you go down alleys, it's brutal.
Somebody had said that they watched it, and the arm, because it's not, they're still getting the hang of it, the entire thing went into it. Like, the whole trash receptacle just fell out of it.
Oh, my gosh.
They had to go get it out of the truck. Which I think with the new ones will be
What's
remedied.
the new
but-
one supposed to have a 10-year warranty also?
Yeah.
So, other than that, we continue to have municipal court cases. We're up to, I believe, I got the citation for 17 so far this year. By way of comparison, we had 4 last year. So, yeah, we're on track to have 5 to 6 times as many this year. Other than that, I have nothing further.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Do I hear a motion to accept and file the attorney report?
Second.
Moved by Cale, second by Amanda. All in favor? Approved. Clerk report.
I have a few things. First thing, the next council meeting, October 11th it's not a city holiday, but it is a federal holiday. And in our code, it does say that if a meeting falls on a federal holiday or a council or a city holiday, that the meeting will be the following day. So it's going to be on Tuesday, October 12th.
Are you working on Monday?
We are, yeah. But the code says, in the event the regular meeting day shall fall on any legal holiday or any day observed as a holiday by the city offices, the governing body shall fix the succeeding day not observed as a holiday as the meeting day. So,
What day will it be then?
on the 12th, Tuesday.
Columbus Day on the 11th.
Yeah.
But he didn't discover America. The Indians were here.
So along those same lines, so you all know, we are going to have our CDBG public hearing at the beginning of that meeting at 7 o'clock. Either Justine will be here or Call or one of her coworkers will be here for that. And the public notice that was published last week had the wrong date, so it'll be in the paper again this week. It's still enough time for a public notice for that hearing. That notice, and Scott, I gave you a copy of it, and it's on the share, outlines the streets that are going to be Phase 2. And the JR reviewed this. That's accurate. It also says that it's going to be, this project will keep the existing curb and gutter in the identified streets listed. So that means we're not going to be passing any costs on to residents for Phase 2 for curb and gutter.
And they're all in good enough shape, I'm assuming?
JR has looked at them, and that's his recommendation, yes. We can't go back after the fact and do that, so,
Kickback on that's going to be, or pushback's going to be that these streets don't need work. Even though they're the heavily trafficked streets, they're already in pretty good shape. And what Jared's kind of told me is that they just need beefed up so they stay.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's easily explainable. I mean, they are heavily used roads that.
and the ones that can qualify for the grant funds.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't do Sunny Hill Edition because it's not going to qualify, you know, and it's probably some of the worst areas up there, but.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is to try to get the grant funds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Along those lines, I was focused on the LMI survey. I thought that was my job, and I got that done. But when we did this before, back in 2019, Mike Day took care of all the bond stuff. Well, nobody was taking care of the bond stuff this year. Didn't even occur to JR, did not occur to me. Sure, it didn't occur to you, because you weren't involved the last time. So with that said, we had a meeting with Kevin Cowan with Gilmore and Bell on the Tuesday after the last council meeting. We should be fine. We're a little bit behind the ball on this. We are going to have to pass some resolutions. Justine thinks we need to have a public hearing for the bonds. The last time that we did this, we had a public hearing, and that public hearing was for the 1% sales tax and also the bond resolutions, which are out on the share if you want to see what they were last time. They will be very similar this time. The bond resolution and the street resolution basically are outlining the streets that are going to be done. That's the street resolution. The bond resolution lets the public know how much we are authorizing to issue in bonds. Both of those resolutions are subject to protest. We didn't have a protest last time. I doubt that we will this time. But the question right now that I need to get answered from Kevin Cowan is whether or not we're going to have a public hearing. Justine is telling me, even though this is late and we won't get it done in time for the deadline for the grant, we can still go ahead and apply for the grant. It'll just take some points off of our application because we aren't 100% ready. But if we can get the resolutions passed without a public hearing, we'll be okay. It's just going to put us a little bit lower on the scale for the grant application. And I apologize for that. None of us knew. But I will get it handled as best that I can, and I'll let you guys know. If it looks like we're going to have a public hearing, you know, just not on the regular council meeting night, I'll reach out and let you guys know. It'll take 5 minutes because I'm sure nobody will come.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. When you started out, we're going to be okay. I'm thinking, oh boy.
Well, we are going to be okay. And talking to Karina, she thinks even with that, they don't have a lot of people interested this year in the CDBG facilities grants, so she thinks we have a really good chance, even if we get lesser points because of this. So we're learning. If we do this again, we'll know what needs to happen. But I've got to call out for Kevin Cowan as well, because I really don't think we're going to need to have a hearing. I think that was because of the 1% sales tax. When we had this meeting with Kevin, he didn't say anything about having to have a public hearing. So I really don't think we're going to have to, but I don't know for sure. But the one thing that we do need to decide tonight, because if Kevin needs to create those resolutions before the next meeting, he's going to need to know, let me back up. If you look at the resolution for the street project the last time, to authorize the bonds, we authorized the total amount of the project, which was $1.2 million in bonds. And the reason we did that was in case we didn't get any CDBG funding, we could still move forward with the project because we were authorized to issue the total amount of the bonds. And his recommendation is to do the same. This year, or this next project is, you'll see it on there, the estimated project cost is $1,081,920. If you rounded it up to $1.1 million in bonds, then you would be covered to do this project, even if we don't get the grant funds, if that's what you want to do. So I need a motion from you guys how much you want to authorize for the bond issue, the maximum that you want.
And then paying the payments back, I mean, we're coming in good with our sales tax
Oh,
increase?
yeah. Yes, I wish I had that report for you. We are getting more than was estimated in our sales tax revenue from that 1%. So to repay these bonds, we are in really good shape. Yeah. And for even more, even after this issue. Yeah. I'll run some reports for you for the next time.
So by adding more bonds and stuff, we're going to be okay by, with the 1%.
Yes.
Extended out there because we'll be adding more to it.
Yes, and like I said, the next meeting I will bring that stuff for you. I should have had it for tonight. I apologize for that, but yeah, we are in really good shape with that. Yeah.
And what was the payback on the first?
Our annual payments,
Well, I mean, how long?
it's 20 years, I
20?
think, was
Okay, I
the
couldn't
bond
remember.
issue, and I think our payments are around $50,000 a year,
Okay.
and we're bringing in about $170,000 on our sales tax. I hope I'm not misspeaking, but I think that's about what it is, and that's,
About right,
yeah.
You say 170, is that increase from?
Well, this was the 1% that we
Right.
issued solely for
Okay.
the debt
Good.
service and infrastructure improvements.
Good.
Yeah. So,
Do you need a motion on this now for the 1.1?
I do, because he's going to have to create these resolutions before that public hearing, regardless of whether we have to have another public
I'll
hearing.
make the motion then to 1.1 million.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Cale, second by David, all in favor? Approved.
Okay. And Lauren, these resolutions, Kevin is the bond counsel, so.
Right. Yep.
Have you talked to him before, Kevin Cowan?
I had about a 5-minute conversation with him in my kind of conference call
The last time.
the last time. I think it's
Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
So is it February of next year that we hear, wasn't it?
So these have to be passed now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, before you hear if you're
Oh,
eligible
yes.
for the grants.
Yes, we'll hear whether or not we got the grant in, I think it was January, the middle of January,
January.
2020, when we found out whether or not we got them. Yeah.
And if we get more than we expected in CDBG?
We won't get more than we ask
We
for.
won't, okay.
We may get less, but we're going to ask for the maximum, which is $600,000. That's the maximum we can
So, yeah, definitely.
apply for.
Was it 2020 or 2019?
So the process started in 2019, and we applied for it at the end of 2019, in this same time period of 2019, and then we got the grant in 2020 of January. Then we actually issued the bonds, which was a whole other process, which you will be involved in.
Right.
But for right now, we just need to have the authority to do so, and that's what we're working on.
So basically, this next street work won't be until 2023, really.
Yeah.
Probably. By the time the bids go out, and then everything comes back and everything. Of course, it might go a little faster this time because the pandemic was part of our problem.
It could be, yeah. I mean, if we're ready to roll.
Yeah, it would be faster now.
So that's all on that. The ARPA funds, I haven't had time to look at the calculator. I'm still working on that. But the auditors, I did talk to Danielle, and she said that we will not need to amend the budget the way that the federal funds work, that they come in and they're not counted against your budget authority. They're not counted as spendable funds as far as your budget authority is concerned. So we will not have to amend the budget to use those funds. So that was good news. As I mentioned earlier, I've got one more application for city clerk job. Nobody's asked for a job description. The deadline's October 8th. Probably at the next meeting at the end, you guys will probably want to have an executive session and look at the applications that you've received and then make a decision whether you want to extend it or interview or whatever you want to do with the two that you've received. That's going to be a long meeting. Next thing is a couple of grants for the Veterans Memorial. They were going to try to apply directly to the Community Foundation, but they cannot because they are not a 501c3. So Jessica indicated that we would need to apply for a grant on their behalf, the pass-through grant like we do for the concert in the park. They wanted to apply to them for flags and display nameplates. And so I just need, so the cost of that project is $440.09. We would apply for that total amount. I just need a motion from the council if you would like me to apply for a pass-through grant for the Veterans Memorial for those.
Moved by Cale,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Approved.
And then Scott had, I don't know if we've talked about this before, I don't think we have.
Because it all came up after the last meeting, too.
So we thought, Scott and I had a conversation about this and thought this sounded like a really great idea. The city can apply directly to the Hanson Foundation as the city. For, as we've talked about before, it would be a city project, would be our project. A very good way to help the Veterans Memorial would be for the city to put the gazebo in. That, you know, the gazebo covering the memorial could be a city project, and that would benefit them, and it wouldn't interfere with their project per se. I don't think they'd have an issue with that being a city project and not being theirs. And they would donate $2,000 to the city. Let me back up. We could apply to the Hanson Foundation. The total project cost is $12,000. We could apply for $10,000 to the Hanson, directly to the Hanson Foundation, and they said they would donate $2,000 to the city for that. I feel like this is a really great project. I feel like it would be looked on really favorably. I don't know that for sure from the Hanson Foundation, but I feel like it would be because of the type of project it is.
I would think me too.
I didn't know where they were with it.
Well, they started, they were getting the pandemic. Everything started costing more and more. So they're afraid they was running out of money. And I said, well, we got to have the gazebo work because what they're going to put up there, it would have been nice if it would have been granite. Then granite wouldn't have been so bad to sit out in the weather. But these are boards that are made up, and that lettering and stuff will go to pot if it's out in the sun for a long period of time. So we got to have some kind of a roof over the top of it. So I would think the Hanson, something like that, or recognition of veterans and stuff. I think it's a really good project.
I think I'll take that letter, Scott, and have somebody else sign the letter, because we can't write a letter of support for ourselves. But I had written a letter of support when it was going to be something else.
Did the county get you support letters over here?
They did. They're going to have to redo them, though, because it's a support for the VFW. The one that they're doing across the way, that one will work, but it won't work for this one, because it needs to be in support of the city, not the VFW.
I told him that.
I'll get in touch
He
with
probably
him.
thought it was, yeah. I said one was for the city and one was for the VFW. Okay. Yeah.
But it wouldn't be any money out of the city's pockets to apply for this grant.
That sounds like a good idea.
Did I hear a motion? Moved by Amanda. Second by Jared. All in favor? Approved.
And then the last thing is also, I think Bob had talked to the mayor about renaming the park, officially renaming the roadside park to Veterans Memorial Roadside Park.
Yeah, we talked about that way far back when they started this project. Just kind of changing some lettering up there where it would say Veterans Memorial and Roadside Park. And get some signs up there so that they know there's a Veterans Memorial right there when you get off the highway, but then also, we need signs that also says roadside park, and there's really nothing up there, so I think that would be perfect for that up there to get it. You know, I don't know if we need one, two, at least two sets of signs, if not three. I would say that. At least two anyway. So is everybody in favor of kind of, it's not really renaming too much or anything, we just need to get signage up. So somebody make a motion. I would. David made the motion. Second by Cal, all in favor? Approved. Okay. Just need to remind JR that we'll have to get some signs made, and that'll have to go through the state. Won't it?
Yeah, as far as placement goes.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Lila? If not, then your motion to accept and file the clerk report. Moved by Amanda, second by Larry, all in favor? Approved. Okay, council comments. David?
That's what I, Bill.
Amanda? Barrett? Larry? I've got one comment, and this was brought up too, I could have brought it up earlier, that, and it's because there's been one camper trailer moved off of Scott Street, he's moved up to the village, and he took it up there too. It's not tagged, it's nothing, and October 1st, they need to be off the streets anyway. What is that, April 1st, October 1st?
I think so.
So, I don't know, we're going to have to check with God's house for sale, and he's moved up to the apartment up the village, so he's, that old pickup and that trailer's up there. It looked crappy down here, and now it's got it up there.
I'm just glad it wasn't mine, because I was waiting for that, because I thought, oh, boy, I'm getting close to the deadline, but we're going camping this weekend. There's a camping trip.
Yeah.
What about the storage container that's up there at the village? That I brought to the county's attention, and I'm like, you guys own the property?
We've already talked about that and agreed that it could stay.
This is the one down the street. If you address that one, you're going to have to address some other ones.
Yeah, the one down there, Gordon.
Mhm.
But that one up there, they moved it in, and where it's not in residential area. And it really states that if those are in residential areas, they cannot be in a residential area.
When they have to at least get a building permit to move it in? Or that,
Well, I think they have approval on that.
I don't recall any approval on that.
I was thinking,
How long
To me, it looks like an
if
eyesore
it's
being right
been
on the
since
highway.
2015, I don't think they have, because I don't recall one.
I don't know.
Which they had one when they were doing the construction, which was like Dollar General had when they had
That's
the
the same
reset,
one.
but they just moved it over, and I don't ever recall approving any of that. Or
You got
any
one that's out
building.
behind the trees?
Mhm.
Well, you don't really see that from the highway.
Yeah, you do.
You look at it. Not as bad as the one down on Main Street.
No. But I mean, we have ordinance that specifically says you can't have them. Because I thought the one down on Main Street, they were supposed to be putting the fence up to block all that. That's
Well,
when I first got on.
that was supposed to disappear after they had the building and added on to it, and it didn't.
I mean, I was looking, I don't know, I didn't think it said, I don't know, but I thought it wasn't just specifically for residential.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, residential areas, it was definitely out.
Right, I was thinking they were just prohibited, period, but I don't remember, and I don't know where to look for it right now. Want me to look?
And I don't know what they use it for now. I mean, I'm sure they got stuff stored in it. I really wouldn't want to store stuff in one of those things. Nothing valuable anyway. They get too hot, they get too cold, because I think the Cheyenne County Museum was thinking about wanting to put one of them behind the museum to store stuff in, and then they finally decided they couldn't do it because of the too extreme hot and cold temperatures to store stuff in it.
It says, it's chapter 4, Article 12, 1205. Placement or use of cargo containers, railroad cars, semi-trailers, or trailers of any kind originally designed and or used for the transport of property shall not be allowed for storage units in the city limits. That's what it says.
How long's that one been up there? I thought they had it when they were constructing the...
Yeah, I
It can't be used. They can't be in the city limits. Cargo, they just can't be in, no matter what they're used for.
probably been up there 3 years now total.
Like I said, because Dollar General had the one when they were going through the reset, which they're temporary, they're using it, you know. That's the same with the one with the assisted living, where they're doing construction, I see that, but no. And I don't ever remember approving it, I don't remember seeing the building permit, because it could be something that could be an exception that the city approves, but I do not recall anything of ever approving it.
I don't think so. Not since I've been here. What's that?
Something there is if we start picking on those. We've got some real major problems here in town. On buildings that are not completed, that have been that way for years. I don't know. We open a can of worms. We really do.
Well, like I said, it could be something that could be an exception that we allow them if they're painted and they look better, but, I mean, they've just put them up in Oregon City ordinance. It's our duty to enforce city ordinances, and like I said, I get where you're opening the can, but,
And I guess up there, if they would just put a fence on the north side of that, because there is trees on this side, that would kind of hide it from the highway, because you just see the end of it from the highway. The trees are not a high part of it, but it is there. It is there.
But you're saying the ordinance says they're not allowed in city limits, period,
Shipping containers, yes.
shipping containers.
Yes.
Right.
and you wonder if the two million is.
Um, 12,
Didn't we deny the one for Enrique when we were going to enclose it?
We will be,
Yeah,
But he was going to enclose it.
but he was going to close it, so you went, no, except for the end of it, that it was already open to us.
So,
He indicated that we didn't.
so that was advocate, so say they put a fence up and hides it, in 2 years you have someone else who knows it or something, and says,
yes.
I want to put one. They can have one like that, I have
On
one.
Main Street, those are the two Dollar General, they should have got rid of it, if I remember right. I'm sure they did.
Probably just modify the.
Got it. Sorry.
I don't think you want, I don't know that you want to go, I mean, Bird City went through that and they modified their ordinance where they only allowed it for 2 years. But you gotta apply, I mean, you also have to get them approved by the council, and you have to reapply every 2 years, where the council's making sure that their fit structures and,
Well, I was going to allow Brent Reed to do it.
Yeah.
That was out on the industrial park deal, that he was going to, I think he was going to build a roof on them, but he wanted to put 3 of them in there, and then he was going to paint them, all to match the same color and stuff. We was going to basically typically allow that, but you know.
That's one of the requirements of Bird City is that they have to be painted a solid color.
And that's what I think if they would actually apply to get a building permit, we could make an exception.
Maintained, right.
As of right now, where the ordinance is, they're not allowed. Now, if they come apply for a building permit, they want to have the storage unit, there's a stipulation on it that it has to be painted and
Maintained.
maintained.
And you could put a stipulation in that it, you know, they can apply, they have to apply every 2 years like Bird City does, or every year, or every 5 years, I mean, however long you want to go.
That's why we only do up there.
I knew before, because Dollar General, they moved there, and then down at the ready mix, Brock had one outside city limits, and they moved it from the city limits side, and they moved it back out. They named it. Down there in that shady area, I'm not sure, like, the city limit splits the ready mix building in half. So, I knew they had moved it, I'm like, I think it's in city limits, and then they moved it back out. Those are the four that I noticed. I don't know that it's anymore. But it seemed like we talked about the one on Main Street, and I thought they were supposed to put the fence up to,
Yeah, if he would ever finish, that's 10 years.
Looks like the corrals in the police place.
Plus the old motel that was going to come down, and it's not coming down. It never will come down. Anyway.
Maybe we can model it and use it
if I think about it,
There were two ladies going to do that,
for,
but they thought they were going to be able to get grant money. You can't get grant money for your personal gain. They thought they were going to be able to get grant money for it. So then they sold it to Gordon. They're going to make it better. So how far do you want to go with that?
I know when I saw the one up there, and I said, they didn't ask, and I said, well, if it is our ordinance, I mean, we should probably, that's what we're here to do, is either enforce the ordinance or change the ordinance if we don't think it fits. Correct. And so, I mean, we can pretend it.
my 2 cents, guys, you're not going to get anything done around here. That's not going to change.
Unless we can force him to put up the fence. If he put up the fence, then it bites it. And
I'm not convinced that you did do that.
Is it painted?
Against the ordinance, can bring him to court.
if it's not painted, and then all the stuff that's just laying on the property there, it doesn't look good, and I guess 10 years ago when JR and I talked to him, they were going to build the panels during the winter when it was cold, and then it would just take a matter of just to get some poles put in and go out and set it up and be done. Never happened.
Where the old hotel is going to be.
We could go back and visit about that.
On that side of the street. 2-story white building. Is it across the street from you?
Yes.
Yeah. Must not be too much of an eyesore.
That's like 1.75 miles into my run by that time. I'm not looking at anything else. Just dying.
Do you go for coffee?
I just didn't know it used to be a hotel. I know that there's no steps there.
No.
There's just
Because they're going to put a fence up in front of
a
it.
giant
Right?
Well, they tore the steps out that's how far back it goes. When they tore the steps out was when they put the new sidewalks in. 25 years ago.
No, they were going to tear down the front porch to put, right, to put a fence around.
Well,
it.
yeah, they were talking
I
about,
was going to say, I knew they were going to tear something down.
well, because Gordon wanted to go on across there, clear to the other side with the fence, but nothing's ever happened.
So what's up with the building now? What's going to happen with the building now?
He was given the building to tear down, is that correct?
No, he bought it.
He bought it
He
from
bought
them?
it from Linda.
When did he buy it?
Oh, gosh.
Gosh, before I was
10 years ago. 10 years ago. Well, that Cromwell's kid was thinking about moving it out to where he's building his house and remodeling it. Then he found out how much it would cost. And so nothing's worked. Yeah, sometimes if lightning would hit certain properties around town, firemen just contain so it doesn't burn anything else up. And I think Gordon would be just happy with that. That's what happened.
I had emailed that before we get to moving to adjourn the meeting. I had emailed that during Lila's report, the addendum to the contract.
Well, we could have JR maybe, we could ask up there too if they are using it and what purpose it is for. At least get an answer from them if they are using it. If they're not using it or don't really need it, then they need to get it out of there.
Then at least apply for a building permit, but if they want to keep it, then we can either approve it as an exception, or we can not approve it, being a storage container, or put, the stipulation that it has to be painted all one color, that has to be reused. I just know the ordinance says that they're not allowed.
Do we want to modify the ordinance? While I'm going through and modifying ordinances, do we want to modify it that it requires, we can use Bird City's ordinance stating that it needs to be any cargo container needs to have a permit.
I think it's a building, it's a structure, it needs to have a building permit, at the very least, and then if they're not using it, maybe they'll just move it, and if not...
But isn't a building permit for the building? It's you're doing something, because a fence requires a building permit. The building permit is...
You have sheds and that kind of stuff, you still have to get a building permit to move one of those prefab sheds in. If you're not building it, you're just moving it in. So you still have to get a building permit for that.
This right here, this doesn't read well. Yes, I can get there. The first whereas, yes.
Well, let's think about that a little bit.
Oh, yes.
Let's have JR when he gets back to check it out, see what they've done.
Okay. I have deleted whereas the city. Just as the agreement.
So you adjourn the meeting?
Yeah, you have to vote on the attachment license and the addendum. As modified, because I took out 2 words on the first whereas. I took out the city.
Here, Scott. This is what she's talking about for the whole agreement and that addendum to it. Did you have it?
I looked at it earlier, but
Yeah, so just adding in there that if they damage the city's utility poles, basically for any reason, that they will have to be repaired and replaced. And just, so if everybody agrees with that,
I sent you a new one with the modification.
We need a motion.
yeah, we need a motion to approve that whole agreement.
Second.
And the addendum.
Go ahead, and then they can adjourn, and then Scott will just ask you to stay while I print it.
So, I made a motion.
Dave just seconded. All in favor? Pass.
So you approved the agreement and the addendum,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. All right. Okay.
Apologize for my
I wish I would put
Yeah,
texting
I
and driving with
Cowboys on 20.
So who made the motion to adjourn? David's up first?
David.
And me.
Then Amanda.
Okay, Scott, I'll go print that for you real
Okay.
quick.